Hello, welcome back to Ever17 Out of Infinity. You left behind the security office that reeked of smoke and gathered in front of the souvenir stand. Okay, let's just settle in here as Takeshi. Yay. I just finished my 34th match against PP, and I had lost 34 times. It was a pretty one-sided affair. Is there any way that PP could lose? First off, you're the one who's making PP's face all funny. I can't make faces that crazy by myself. Besides, I don't know how to make a dog laugh, so it's not really fair. I wondered if it was really just getting used to it. Well, I'll just have to admit defeat. Kid, you want to take my place? Yeah, I'm begging you. I'll be the referee. The kid had been talking with you when he came over. Sora, who appeared taken with the game, also came over. It's a staring contest, canine versus human. Sora covered her mouth with her hand and giggled. Actually, PP is incredible. I think I'm gonna have nightmares about this. I shuddered. And now, in their first contest, we have the champion PP versus the challenger, the kid, facing off in a face fight. I want to get underway, but first... Well, I think we need to decide what we're going to call the kid here. Is kid okay? What do you think? Kiddo, huh? You want me to call you that too? There's gotta be a more normal name than that. Oh, John. It's a little random, but I like John Doe. Well, it's only for a little while, so it doesn't have to be perfect. It's really long. That's too long. Anything longer than Yume Tanaka is out. You, who have been standing over by the shop, came walking directly toward me. Ah, what a pain. In honor of the mascot, I name you Iroman of Hamburger. Why no Mimo? It's bad luck to name him that. Tsugumi cut in. The conversation had come full circle. The lights suddenly went out and then flashed back on. There was a dull, heavy, metallic echo. At the same time, there was a slight tremor. What's that? Saying that, Sora held her hands out in front of her. Just then, a strong lateral vibration jolted the floor. The holographic window that Sora had conjured vanished. It's flooding? I didn't see any signs of that when I made the rounds. The sound of metal giving way accompanied the massive shaking. Scenes from old movies of luxury liners being swallowed by the ocean flashed across my mind.
浸水箇所複数の区画に拡大していきます。ねえ、どこかに捕まっておいた方がいいんじゃない？そうね。みんな何かに捕まって体を固定して。
Okay. I reached out for a support pillar nearby. Coco crouched down as she squeezed Pee-Pee tightly. Everyone held their breaths. Boom, boom, boom. Boom, boom, boom. Bam! A huge shockwave rocked us. The whole floor, or rather the whole of LeMU, shook. I thought I would be thrown into the ceiling one second and pulverized into the floor the next. The souvenir shop in front of me trembled. The display of dishes in the shop fell to the floor and shattered. The pile of empty cans clattered and gave way. The stuffed animal made a beeping noise as it fell on its stomach. We all steadied ourselves against the shaking. Aha, we're gonna die! All we could do was endure it. No one said anything. We could hear the squeal of steel twisting. Finally, the sound seemed to get further away. The vibrations also gradually subsided. Sora announced that the second wave of flooding had finished. Still wary, we headed downstairs. We carefully moved forward down the wet and slippery stairs. With every step, the scent of seawater seemed to grow stronger. We arrived at Dreadstock, basement floor 3. The water level in the corridor reached around my shin. It must have been around 6 inches deep.
完全には排水できないの？できないようです。大きな浸水箇所は隔壁で遮断したのですが、細かいダクトなどを通して今もこの区画に少しずつ水が流れ込み続けています。排水ポンプはフル稼働していますが、現在の状態より水位を下げるにはおそらく。
The big hole will have to be plugged. Is that what you were gonna say?
浸水元の区画には隔壁が降りてしまってるから、ここから修理に行くこともできない。ええ、そうです。
We entered the central control room. Sora checked the damage via the LeMU console.
それにしても本当に申し訳ありませんでした。二次浸水の危険が迫っていたというのに、皆さんに前もってお伝えできていなかったなんて。
As she manipulated the keys, Sora bowed her head, looking deeply apologetic. Hey, everybody makes mistakes. It's not your fault, Sora. Everybody makes mistakes. We may have even overlooked the cause of this when we were checking around a little bit ago. We're all in this together. Everyone is fine, so let's just consider ourselves lucky. Sora answered this without looking away from the monitor.
すみません、倉成さん。なんだか気を使っていただいて。
It's nothing. I scratched the tip of my nose. Finally, our hands stopped typing the keyboard. Sora turned and stood up.
状況がわかりました。これから表示します。皆さんどうか驚いたり気を落としたりしないでくださいね。そら、そんな風に言われると逆に身構えちゃうよ。あ、すみません。まあ、めったなことじゃ驚かない自信があるけどね。そうですか。それでは。
I thought everyone was probably numbed by what we had experienced so far.
先ほどの第二次浸水についてですが、簡単に原因を申し上げますと、1度目の浸水の時に被害を免れたいくつかの区画は強制換気により急激に減圧された状態で水没した区画から隔離されました。しかし水没区画が内部の水の重さに耐えきれず傾き、隣接した区画とのジョイントに亀裂が生じました。管内外の圧力差により小さな亀裂からスポイトのように周囲の海水が吸い込まれたために、それまで健在だった多くの区画も短時間で一気に浸水したのです。これが現在のドリットシュトックの状況です。明滅している箇所が この中央制御室です。そしてこちらがツバイトシュトックの状況です。
Okay. You serious?
LeMU の約半分は水の中ってわけね。
ドリットには水没していない区画が3カ所あります。このマップの中心に表示されているのが私たちのいる第8区画です。
あれ、地図には大まかに2つに分かれた場所が示されてるみたいだけど、もう一つの区画は？
実はシステムの不備のせいで詳細なマップ表示ができていませんが、この第8区画の対角線上にある第4区画の一部も健在なのです。しかし
そこに行くことはできないの？
はい、不可能です。
どうして
2つの区画を結んでいる通路が全て水没してしまったからです。距離にしておよそ100メートル、無呼吸状態で100メートル泳ぎ続けるような能力をお持ちになっている方はこの中にはいらっしゃらないでしょう。故に不可能なのです。それにもしも仮に第4区画まで行けたとしても事態が好転するようなことはないと思われます。
ん？
第4区画もここと同じなのです。浮島へ登るための非常階段は全て完全浸水しています。
つまり言っても無駄ってことね。
そういうことです。
だったらしょうがないか。
第4区画のことはこの際忘れてしまった方がいいわね。
We'll just have to sit quietly and wait for help to come. Well, I guess we can take it easy for now. I left the room and hit the food stand, snagging some cola for everyone. Alright, cola time. I'm gonna toss everyone going. Ready? Oops, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm one short.
あ、私はいらないです。
Oh, don't worry about it. I'll go get one more. You can have
い
mine.
え、結構です。私喉乾いていませんし、コーラは苦手なんです。
Sora smiled. Well, in that case, I tossed out a cola to everyone in order. You, Tsugumi, and the kid all took one. But then the kid started shaking his can. Stupid, what do you think you're doing?
え、
If you do that, it's going to explode everywhere.
そうなの？危険なの？
Did you forget that cola is carbonated?
ごめん。
Jeez, I'll give you mine. Here. I switched cans with him. This time, the kid slowly lifted the tab without shaking the can. Cola erupted powerfully. The rest of us hurriedly jumped to get out of the way. The kid got a blast of cola in the face. Hey, are you alright? Just so you know, that wasn't my
コ
doing.
ーラ甘いね。
ああ、もう気をつけないと。
You said this as if she were at her wit's end.
その間LeMUの特殊ガスの気圧に合わせて6気圧で封入してあるんだから。会員料の持ち込み持ち帰りは現金ですって入場するときに聞かなかったの？
Well, I didn't know that. I must have missed it. It was true. Normally, the inside of the LeMU complex was maintained at 6 atmospheres using a mixture of gases. Now that the 4 had become 1 atmosphere, the gas in the can was still highly pressurized, and the gap in pressure with the atmosphere made them burst when opened.
僕も知らなかったよ。
The kid wiped his face with a nearby towel. Hey, kid, no one would expect you to know that. You gotta tell Mr. Amnesia here these things.
へいへい、以後気をつけます。
Huh? Coco, what's wrong? Coco was embracing Pee-Pee and looked downcast. Thinking about it, I realized that Coco hadn't said anything for a while. It didn't seem like her. Hey, aren't you going to drink your cola? I held out a can of cola in front of Coco. It's a little warm, but it's the best I can do.
いらない。
Coco mumbled this.
ここちょっとね、調子良くないんだ。さっきからずっと考えてるんだけど、いい子めっちょがなかなか思いつかなくて。
Jokes? I peered down at Coco. She didn't look too good. She was sweating and having a hard time breathing. Hey, you don't look very good.
クラナリ、どいて。
You came rushing over to Coco, pushing me out of the way and put her hands on the girl's shoulders.
頭痛くない？少し痛い。クラクラする。で、ブラブラ動かしたら痛い？ちょっとだけ。
It looked like it hurt more than a little.
フロアの急激な減圧による減圧症の疑いがあります。
そうね。
PP was looking up at Coco worriedly.
スバイトの救護室に行こう。クラナリ、おんぶ。
Huh?
おんぶ。
Okay.
早くおんぶしてよ。
Alright, alright.
ココをおぶるのよ。
I got it. You don't have to scream in my ear. We were rushing up to Zoid's stock some 56 feet above us. Coco held onto my back from behind. You and Tsugumi supported her from the sides. Sora led the way and the kid brought up the rear. We emerged at the second floor emergency corridor. Hey, are you sure we shouldn't take a normal corridor?
ここをそのまま進んでください。近道になっています。
The emergency corridor was directly connected to the lift below the infirmary. Whew, we made it. Let's get her up to here.
いえ、クラナリさん、そのままそこにある部屋に入ってください。
Huh?
医療用の過減圧室、再圧チャンバーです。ここで減圧症の治療が行います。
ココをそこに寝かせてあげて。
Oh, alright. Coco lay on the bed. The kid and Tsugumi watched all of this from beside me. So, what are you gonna do in this tiny room? Isn't it a little cramped for examining her? The space was so small that with everyone in there we could hardly
私は
move.
何もしないよ。
What are you talking about?
ココにはしばらくこの部屋でおとなしくしててもらうの。
I tilted my head, confused.
高圧酸素療法です。ご説明しましょう。減圧症は周囲に急激な気圧変化が起こった際に体内に排出できないガスが溜まってしまうために起こるのです。ガスは気泡となって筋組織や静脈中などにとどまります。ガスが体内に多く残っていると酸素呼吸効率が著しく低下します。
So, no matter how many deep breaths you take, it feels like you're
Hi.
suffocating.
また血液中に溶けた窒素が気化すると血栓を作ってしまうことがあります。血流を塞いでしまい危険です。そこでこの部屋を密閉して高濃度の酸素を注入。一旦約3気圧までゆっくりと加圧し、その後ゆっくりと減圧し、再び1気圧に戻します。圧力差を利用して体内の気泡を再び血液中に溶け込ませ、呼吸によって自然に排出できるようにするわけです。
So basically, you make us like a can of cola that won't blow up.
その通りです。
Okay, I got it. I lifted my hands. Gosh, that dash up the stairs sure wore me out. I heaved a breath.
あ、クラナリさん、苦しくないですか？
Huh? My muscles feel kind of sore and I'm a bit sluggish, but
ねえ、クラナリも部屋に入った方がいいんじゃない？軽い減圧症はすぐに自覚症状が現れるわけじゃないの。一晩二晩経ってから痛み出すこともあるのよ。
after you figure out you're in trouble, it's too late.
ねえ、症状が長引くかもね。
そうですね。念のためですが
Yeah,
皆
it's
さん
really not good.
この部屋に入っていただきます。
The decompression process took place over several hours. Coco lay on the only bed. The kid, you, PP, and I sat next to her. It was cramped. We were like sardines in a can. There was nowhere to move. I wondered what time it was. I took out my PDA and checked. 11:54 p.m. I was sleepy. Coco was sleeping and her breathing was relaxed. It looked like she was doing better. It didn't look like you or the kid were sleeping, but they sat quietly with their eyes closed. PP had crawled under the bed. Sora had sealed the hatch from outside and was adjusting the pressure as necessary. So, Sora, what about you? Don't you need to be treated? Before the process had started, I had asked Sora this.
私は体が慣れてますから。あ、それと皆さん、再圧の時には耳の音声変換器を一旦外してください。それは鼓膜を気圧差から保護する役割がありますが、再圧中は邪魔になってしまいますから。
I removed the earphones that I had become completely used to and held them in my hand. Sora still stood just outside the hatch window. Tsugumi wasn't inside or visible outside the room she had left just before the pressurization process had started. Where did she go? When was Sora going to sleep? Where did she go? When was Sora going to sleep? When was Sora going to sleep? A simple doubt jumped into my mind. She was doing my new complex work nonstop, and she was always on her feet. Maybe she never got tired. When I spoke with her over the interphone and asked her if she were all right, she laughed and said she was just fine. And she was still standing outside the room as if she were sentinel guarding it. As if she were a sentinel guarding it. Her back was straight and she never slouched, always looking like she was at attention. I wondered if what she had said about being fine on sleeping days on end was true. That really bothers me. I thought that I'd followed up on it later. Even as I thought that, my eyelids got heavier and heavier, but still, even so. Today really was an eventful day, and then I fell away into slumber. I'm sleepy. The lack of sleep made the echo of the shoes scraping the ground seem louder than usual. As I walked down the emergency corridor, I stretched. Yu was next to me. Coco and the kid trailed a little way behind us. Yeah, but what time do you think it is right now?
5時半
That's right, so that means I only slept 4.5 hours.
そうでしょこの状況でよくそんなに眠れるわね
It's because it is this kind of situation that we've got to sleep. Our minds have to be sharp. We have to be ready for anything, right?
今は回転してるんだ
Well, I'm still a bit sleep deprived, so not all my pistons are firing, but I think I'm doing about as good as the next guy. Huh? The next thing I noticed, he was no longer next to me. I stopped and looked back. I saw the kid and Coco disappearing down a side pathway to the right. I hurried after the three of them.
でどうなのよ睡眠の成果は
You spoke to me sarcastically once I'd caught up. I just told you, I'm not running at full power. You let out an exasperated sigh and shrugged her shoulders. She also arched an eyebrow as if annoyed.
くらなりいっぺん鏡見た方がいいんじゃない
Huh? Mirror?
あんたねともかくさっさと顔洗った方がいいよ
We entered the emergency stairs from the emergency corridor. We had just been rousted from sleep by Sora, and the four of us shuffled, right, to the control room on the third floor at Dritstock. Okay. We seemed to have passed through the decompression process without a hitch, as no one had any complaints. Even Koku, who had seemed to be having such a rough time, was. Yay.
ぽっかぽっか日曜日ピッカピッカピッカピッピ曜日ぷっかぷっかぷっか水曜日
Yeah. Even the dogs seemed in high spirits. They looked even happier than the day before. The water on the corridor splashed and sprayed as we walked. You walking next to me had climbed up. I wonder what she is peeved about. I slowed down my pace to walk with this kid. Hey, you got any idea what you's all miffed about?
さあ
The kid answered, grinning. Hey, what are you laughing about? Do you know something that I
心
don't?
当たりないの
If I did, I wouldn't be asking you. You told me to look in the mirror, but...
なんだ教えちゃったのか
Huh?
つまんないの
The kid kept glancing at my face and trying not to smile. My face... I wiped the palm of my hand on my face. It looked like black ink was smeared there. What's this? I tried to wipe it off with my shirt collar, but it wouldn't come off.
あトイレならあっちだよ
The faucet was broken and the sink was overflowing with water. I hurriedly washed my hands and then my face. The mirror in front of me was shattered into so many shards it was useless. Most of the black had come off of my hands, so I thought my face was probably alright. That girl. I said it disgustedly and hurried out of the bathroom. I went up to you again. Hey you, what did you write on my face?
Huh?
While I was asleep, you scribbled all over my face, didn't you? Oh, now we're back here. As we walked, you gave to my face.
何言っちゃってんだかね、この人は。ひょっとしてまだ寝ぼけてるとか？
Don't play dumb with me, you. You were just talking about a mirror.
言ったっけ？そんなことを。
You said it. I know you said it.
聞き間違えたんじゃないの？やっぱり寝ぼけてるんだよ、きっと。
Then what's this? I showed her my shirt collar where I had wet ink.
どれどれ？
You mumbled this, so I stepped closer. Suddenly she grabbed my hand and stared at my palm intently.
おお、こいつは珍しい手相をしてるの。
Palm reading? Is that what we're into now?
天根一滴の相といってな、運命が大きく二手に分かれることを示しておるのじゃ。つまりオール・オア・ナッシングじゃな。全てを得るか、あるいは全てを失ってしまうか。一方に進めば金運、仕事運ともに上々で美しい女性と巡り合い、子宝にも恵まれ幸せな家庭を築けるじゃろう。おまけに健康運も最高ときとる。人が羨むほどの長寿長命を全うすることになりそうじゃ。ただしじゃ。
Well, this is fun.
これは本当に大変なことになるぞ。
Dire?
これ以上はわしの口からは言えんの。この生命線の真ん中のところをよーくじっくりと見つめてみるのじゃ。そこに答えが刻まれておるのじゃからな。
I looked down at the palm of my hand. My ashtray still lying down my lifeline. Wide-eyed, I scrutinized every twinkle in mine, but I didn't see an answer anywhere. There was still black ink in the creases of my hand. Black ink. Black ink. Black ink. I remembered what I was angry about. Forget fortune-telling. You're trying to trick me. What? Hey! The next thing I knew, you was no longer beside me. I stopped and looked back. I saw the kid and Coco vanish into a small side corridor. Whoa, jeez, I don't believe these guys. I hurriedly chased after the three of them. Tsugumi was in front of the control room. She was leaning against the wall, her arms folded and facing down. Wait and see what she says. I peered at Tsugumi's face. I was curious where she had gone off to the day before. She could at least have given me a hint. Tsugumi didn't budge. She stood there with her mouth half open, only blinking her eyes a couple of times.
何？
Tsugumi finally spoke.
なんか文句ある？
Then she scowled. Good morning. You're gonna go to sleep last night, jeez. I didn't. That darn room was so small, I ended up sitting on the floor all night. I yawned and rubbed my eyes with both hands as I spoke. So, what did you do after that yesterday? But then Tsugumi's eyes narrowed into slits and she leveled a steel glare at me. It was the kind of look that could kill.
ひどい顔。最低ね。
Huh? Tsugumi shook her head as if she were fed up with me and vanished inside the control room. Absolute worst. Hey, hold on a second.
倉成さん、
Sora's voice came from behind me.
そんなところで何をやっているんです？早く中に入ってください。
But
いいから早くお願いします。
the expression on her face appeared more stressed than the day before. It seemed as if her face said that something serious were unfolding.
こんなにも早い時間に皆さんにお集まりいただいたのは他でもありません。実は皆さんに一刻も早くお知らせしなければならないことがあったのです。
Sora paused for a second. Sora looked over all five of us. You, Coco, the kids, Tsugumi, and finally me. The cooling fan whirred away in the silence. Occasionally the sound of metal on metal going through the room. The five of us waited on Sora's next words.
昨夜、小松さんを除く4人の皆さんが加減圧室に入られた後、私はこの制御室でここからの脱出方法や外部への通信手段について考えていました。そしてレミュー内の状況を一つ一つ調べていくうちにある事実が判明したのです。
脱出するルートが見つかったの？
いいえ。
ってことは新たに外部へ連絡する方法が？
それもまだです。
Then what did you figure out?
そうですね。圧力核兵器の耐久強度、その限界が分かりました。
Saying that, Sora turned her eyes to the side of the console. In the darkness, a three-dimensional image of LeMU sprung up.
圧力核兵器って何？
Coco held PB tightly as she asked.
レミューの壁のことです。外側の海水と内側の空間を隔てている部分。
その限界が分かったってどういうことなの？
昨日もお伝えしましたように、レミューは基本的に飽和潜水仕様の設計をもとに建造された構造物です。つまり内部の気圧が外部の水圧と同等かそれを上回るような構造になっていたということです。しかし今や館内の気圧は1気圧ですから、
レミューの外角は常に苛烈な水圧の力にさらされているということになる。
はい。
ところがレミューはもともとこのような状況に長く耐えられるようには作られていない。必然的にいつかは限界が訪れることになる。
おっしゃる通りです。
So, when is this limit?
レミの計算によると今から約119時間後に
119時間5日後か。
完全圧壊推定時刻は5月7日午前4時30分前後となっています。もちろんあくまでも推定ですから誤差はありますが、
誤差はどのくらいなの？
プラスマイナス12時間程度です。
Everyone went silent, lost in thought. Sora's talk had made it clear that we were in a crisis, but I still didn't know what to make of it. I didn't know if 5 days was a long time or a short one. We didn't have a schedule, but if we could find a way out, I didn't figure it was sticking out. Around 5 days, even if we didn't call anyone a rescue team, might be on its way anyway.
ここ。ねえねえ、ソラさん、ソラさん。ここ、バカだからあんまりよくわかんなかったんだけど、それってこういうことだよね。5月7日午前4時30分頃にレミューはくしゃっとぺったんこになっちゃう。もしかしたらそうなっちゃうのは6日の午後4時半ぐらいかもしれないし、7日の午後4時半ぐらいかもしれない。ここまでは OK だよね。
ええ。
ってことはさ、逆に言うとこういうことにならない？最低でも6日の午後4時半ぐらいまではレミューはぺったんこにならない。だからそれまでは全然大丈夫で、心配することなんかないぴょろりーん。ねえ、そういうことでしょ？
絶対に安全だと断定することはできませんが、でも確かにレミの計算結果から判断するとそうなりますね。
なんだなんだ、だったらそれでいいじゃん。そらさ、眉間にキュッてシワなんか寄せちゃってるからさ、ここはちょっぴりドキドキしちゃったよ。まったく脅かすんじゃないぜベイブーって ピピもそう言ってるよ。
Don't scare me, babe.
あと1日でなんて言われたら思わず大暴れするかもしれないところだけど、まだまだ時間は十分あるんだし、それまでにはきっと誰か助けに来てくれるよ。
Honey. The kid standing next to you agreed. He nodded rhythmically as if answering her question. The tension in the air gave way and smiles returned to the faces around the room. Even Tsugumi, who didn't smile, looked relieved. It was 5:50 a.m. I gave a large yawn. Alright, all done. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's all of them. I was in a narrow space at the chicken sandwich stand where the cooking equipment was. Yep. I was wrapping and placing the freshly made breakfast sandwiches on a tray. Why is it that I always have to make Why is it that I have to make breakfast for everyone? Complaining, I took the tray in both hands and opened the small door at the stand. He was waiting in front of the shop and snatched the sandwich from the tray. She peeled back the wrapping and opened up her mouth. Democracy is overrated. It just means the majority rules. You said it flatly as she munched on her sandwich. It was true that I had been an overwhelming vote. I had only been appointed breakfast chief minutes before. I hadn't even run for the office. I know that you're the one in the shadows running this conspiracy. Haha. You're sure full of it. You already ate it? That's so fast. I sought to use outstretched hands. I've only made one for each person. If you want another one, you make it. First, I wanted to get away from you. I took the remaining 4 sandwiches over to the rest area to hand them out. Breakfast is ready, come and get it. As I called out, I set a tray on the bench. Coco came running and splashing towards me, like Pee-Pee thought paddle along behind her. All of a sudden, I noticed the kid beside me. Hey, where are Tsugumi and Sora?
トラなら制御室に戻ったよ。まだ調べたいことが残ってるって言ってたけど。
Oh, that again. Same old, same old. I turned my eyes to the 3 chicken sandwiches left on the tray. What to do? Look for Tsugumi. Go see Sora in the control room. Go see Sora in the control room. I decided to look in on Sora first. I'd look for Tsugumi later. I took their sandwiches in hand and left the room. Which way was it? I had gone as far as the corner before I realized I didn't know the route. Maybe it's this way. Finally, I found a room where the corridor played out. Himmel was written on the door. No, this isn't it. I retraced my route. Alright, here it is. Hey, Sora, it's time for dinner. I pushed the open button next to the door, but the door didn't open. Hey, Sora, open up. I brought you food. Time to eat. I shouted into the interphone as I pushed the button to talk. She replied to me through the speaker. You don't? Don't say that. Sora, have you been eating lately? You have to eat or you're not going to have any energy. I remember that we had the same exchange the day before. Hurry it up, these sandwiches are gonna get cold. Besides, I made them special for you. Listen, I just want to give these to you, so will you open the door? Come on, please, just open the door, Sora. I'll throw in a coupon for a beer if you want.
ごめんなさい。
We kept arguing through the speaker. Alright then, I'm only going to wait out here for one more
いつなん
minute.
ですか？弱りましたね。ちょっと向こうに行かないといけないんですよ。
Huh? Somewhere where? What's going on with her? Hey, Sora, where are you going? Hello? Hello? I pushed the button again and again, shouting. But Sora didn't answer. Just then, the lights in the corridor began to flicker uneasily. I instinctively glanced up at the ceiling. I strained to hear as a dull, garlic sound shook the floor. What? What is happening? It couldn't be. Tiny waves formed and the water pooled on the floor. The walls and ceiling trembled slightly. Metal screeched on metal, as if they were trying to say something to me. Darkness blanketed me. The vibrations and sound died away. Only an eerie silence enveloped us. Only the other emergency lights glowed dimly. Is this a blackout? I wonder what happened to Sora. Hey, Sora, answer me. I pounded the door. I thought she might not be able to hear me inside. Then I tapped the interphone button, but there was no response. Oh, I wonder if the interphone needs electricity to work. I had no clue what was happening on the other side of the door. I figured the only thing I could do was get the door open. I heard footsteps approaching from the darkened corridor. Who's there? In the far darkness, I could just make out 4 familiar outlines. Splashing through the water, the 3 of them walked over.
ねえ、空のことを見かけなかった？
No, but she was inside here until just a bit ago, and now she won't answer. It seems like the door is locked.
何かあったの？
I don't know. Anyway, let's get inside. How do we get this open?
扉の下の方に緊急用の開閉装置があるから。
Pulling on the lever, I pushed the door over to the side. The door opened just wide enough for a person to squeeze through. I peeked inside the room. It was pitch black. I couldn't see a thing.
懐中電灯いる？
Oh, thanks. I gave the kid the sandwich and took the flashlight. I turned it on and stepped into the room. A white circle of light appeared on the wall. I swung the light left and right and shined it on in the corners of the room. The electricity was completely down. Like an abandoned castle, there was no sign of warmth left. There was clearly nobody there. Well, what should we do? I joined everyone and said this calmly. It had been one crisis after another since the day before. I guess we were already used to the situation because nobody had lost it.
何も言わずに空がいなくなるなんて。
You tilted her head as she said this. Looking at her then, I noticed something. You, when did you change clothes?
ああ、これ？
He was wearing clothes I hadn't remembered seeing.
さっき制服にソースこぼしちゃって。更衣室に着替え1着だけ入ってたから。これは普段着なわけよ。
I see. So you gotta change of clothes. Spilling sauce on your uniform? That's pretty clumsy. You scratched her head as if to offset her embarrassment. Anyway, we should be thinking about Sora.
とりあえずみんなで手分けしてソラさんを探すしかないんじゃないの？ソラさんがいなかったらなんで停電したのかだってわかんないんだし。
そうだね。レミューに一番詳しいのは空なんだから。
Alright, let's do this. You and the kid, you guys check this floor. So Tsugumi, Coco, and I will hit the second floor, okay?
え、あ、うん。
了解。
ピピは？
Of course, he'll go with you. I petted Pee-Pee's head. Alright, let's go search. Sora! Sora! The 3 people in one lot, myself, Tsugumi, Togo, Baby, split up. Once we reached White Sock, the entrance to the neutral buoyancy elevator. Inside the infirmary. The changing room. The security office. The merry-go-round. We searched everything, even the jellyfish gondola. Then we retraced our way back to in front of the infirmary. And then... Coco was shaking the flashlight and signaling to me. I had handed it to her before we started searching. How'd it go? Any luck? Coco used the flashlight to make a big X signifying nothing found. Nothing. She's not on this floor. What about Tsugumi? Passed by? The neutral buoyancy elevator, huh? Something big? It sounded like Tsugumi was up to something solo again. I'll go check it out. Coco and I moved to the room next door. There were signs of someone there. Ahead in the pitch darkness was something rustling around. Calling out, Coco shined the light on the shadow. As expected, it was Tsugumi. She held out the palms of her hands as she stood up. Coco hurried to turn off the flashlight and rushed over by Tsugumi. I followed her over with Pee-Pee. Coco pointed down by Tsugumi's feet. There lay a massive plastic case. I was sure I'd seen it in the warehouse the day before. It looked like a toolbox, but...
これは後で必要になってくるの。今はただエレベーターの状態を見てただけ。ちゃんと動くかどうか、扉は手動で開くのかどうか。
Tsugumi was loads more talkative than usual. Her attitude toward Coco was much nicer than the one she had toward me. It seemed to me that Coco's unique personality kept Yu's movie off balance. Tsugumi glanced at me as she said this.
3階に降りようと思って。
3階に？だったらいつも通り非常階段を使えばいいんじゃないの？
あの階段じゃ行けないから。発電室には行けないの。
発電室？
That reminded me of what you had said. LeMU didn't receive any power from the outside but had an in-house generating system. She said that the facility pumped up hot water from a thermal steam program using heat from it to operate the power generator.
だって不便でしょ？このまま明かりがつかなかったら。修理するのよ。停電の原因は多分発電機にあると思うの。
ああ、なるほどね。だからこんなでっかい荷物が必要なんだ。
そう。
そっかそっか。納得。
Tsugumi is finally free from Coco's barrage of
それじゃあ
questions.
行ってくるから。たけし、ちょっと付き合ってくれない？
Huh? Me? Without thinking, I shot a question back at her. Her question was pretty sudden and caught me off balance. Besides, I thought that it was the first time she called me by name. First, there's one thing that I want to ask you.
何？
You just said something about the emergency stairs not leading to the generator room, right? Yeah, so what?
昨日見たレミューのマップ覚えてない？
Map. I pressed on my temples with my fingers, trying to tease out a buried memory.
3階のマップはエリアが2つに分断されている。思い出した？
I can't say I remember it exactly, but kinda,
じゃ
yeah.
あその2つのエリアの間には何があった？
Between them, how am I supposed to know? There wasn't anything there.
そう。ということは
two areas are divided by a block, which is now underwater. I can't move directly from the control room area to the generator room
だ
area.
としたら
Oh, I see. To get to the generator room's area, we have to access the second floor. And the only way we can do that is by using the neutral buoyancy
手伝って
elevator.
くれるでしょ
But do you think it's alright? I mean, we haven't asked Sora's opinion, and we don't know if the cause of the blackout is really the generator.
きっと無駄だと思う
Huh?
空を探したって無駄だと思う停電してるんだから制御室のコンピューターは完全に使い物にならないたとえ空がいたところでレミとコンタクトを取ることはできないの今はとりあえず発電機を見に行くことぐらいしか私たちにできることはないでしょ
Well, I suppose so, but...
ねえどうするの付き合ってくれるわねたけしあなたのことがどうしても必要なの
Those words shocked me. I thought my heart stopped for a second. I really need you. They were not words that I ever expected to hear from Tsugumi's mouth. Tsugumi stared straight at me. Her intense gaze made me uncomfortable.
お願い
How does Tsugumi look for Sora first? Ah, she's asking this nicely. I kind of want to do it. Let's see what happens with this first. Look for Sora first. No. I don't want to go. I turned my face to avoid Tsugumi's eyes. I didn't want her eyes to drag me in. We got to look for Sora first. This isn't a time to be acting selfishly. Tsugumi scowled. She gave me that look that could kill again. That was wild. Coco asked the question instantly. That was
そうね
interesting. Tsugumi's expression soon returned to normal.
でも一人じゃ無理ひとまずここには別の仕事を頼みたいんだけど
別の仕事？何それ？
私が発電室を見に行くことをユウと少年に伝えてほしいのそれとたけしが怖がって一緒に行こうとしないから困ってるって
Hey, hold on. What did I say? I was scared. I jumped in between Coco and Tsugumi.
嫌だ行きたくないってダダっ子みたいに言ったじゃない
Hey, who do you think you're calling scared? I just think that we should do something else first.
そうやってすぐ吠える臆病なのね育児のない男ああそれともまだ男になってないのかなここ早くユウと少年を呼んできてよたけしは役に立ちそうにないから
Tsugumi, you don't have to talk like that. I was peeved.
じゃあどう言えばいいの
Without hesitating, Tsugumi shot the question right back at me. For one moment, I thought I grasped her by her collar and showed her, but I dropped my hand. Okay, fine. I'll go with you. I'll go with you because you were too scared to go alone. Tsugumi laughed through her nose.
結局ここはどうしたらいいのかな？
ユウたちには私が発電室に行くことを伝えるだけでいいわたけしは私がもらっていくから
あじゃ了解しました。
Coco clicked her heels together and gave a kind of salute. The neutral buoyancy elevator, EI. EI meant egg in German. It was also a literal take on the egg-shaped elevator that traveled up and down the rails. Up and down rails. The ocean side, into the ocean side. On the side of the moon. Okay. A ballast tank was attached to the floor. It would take in or release the water from the tank as necessary to increase or reduce buoyancy, thus making the elevator rise or sink. Once Tsugumi and I were inside, we sealed the watertight doors to LeMU side of the elevator. All we had to do was release the lock connecting us to LeMU, and the egg would sink away. Tsugumi pulled the operating lever next to the door. Nothing happened. What's going on? We're not sinking at all.
そうみたいね。
Tsugumi calmly opened up the toolbox she had brought with her. Inside were an electric screwdriver, hydraulic cutting machine, some kind of laser or welding device, a small gas burner. The box was packed with any and all kinds of tools. What are you going to do with that?
沈まないなら沈めるしかないでしょ。
Huh? What? Tsugumi, are you crazy? Tsugumi took the wood torch in hand and slowly stood up. Blue flame erupted from it like a jet engine hissing in the dim light. No way. You're kidding, right? Tsugumi. Tsugumi didn't answer. Tsugumi grinned triumphantly. She put the flame to the edge of the elevator shell. Yikes. There was no time to stop her. A coin-sized hole opened in the egg-shaped elevator, and seawater came spurting in with tremendous force. You idiot! What are you trying to do? A hole. There's a hole.
ええ、開けたのよ。
Tsugumi was as calm as ever. She extinguished the flame as if nothing happened. She placed it in the toolbox and shut the lid. The seawater created a mist descending all around us. Tsugumi licked the droplet off of her lips. You're crazy, right? Yeah, being cooped in here has made me crazy. Tsugumi just snickered. As we continued this exchange, water continued to pour in. It pooled in the bottom of the egg, covered our ankles and our shins, swallowing our knees and lapping at our thighs. I decided to escape. Thought maybe I'd wash my hair. Okay, just decided to escape. I thought it decided it would be best to escape. I didn't want to be around that crazy woman anymore. I just reached for the handle of the watertight door.
何やってるの？さっき付き合ってくれるってそう言ったじゃない。
Tsugumi grabbed my wrist. Tsugumi's palm was soft and wet. There was a soft suction-like feeling as she grabbed me. Tsugumi stared at me. It was a serious, hard look. Fine, have it your way. I'll go along with you to the end, even if we sink to the bottom of the ocean. I made up my mind. Just then. Boom, the egg elevator took a big jolt and started to move. Yeah, I began to inch down ever so slowly, peeking through the window and into the blue. We could see the outside of the unit. The blue gradually got darker, and the steel bulkhead appeared to move further away upward. The higher water pressure increased the force of water pouring in. The speed of our descent picked up. I wondered how many feet we had dropped. I shifted my gaze toward the sea bottom. But Dritstock still had not come into view. The water in the elevator had already reached my chest. My legs were floating. I was on my toes. I kicked with all of my power off the floor and seized an edge of the ceiling. Hey, don't you think this is pretty dangerous? A strange smile appeared on Tsugumi's face. It seemed she was getting a little worried. I wonder if we'll die like this.
Come on.
No, not maybe. This harebrained idea was all your... The surface of the water reached my throat and cold water rushed into my mouth. I lifted my hand and desperately tried to stick to the ceiling. Tsugumi! Tsugumi! I screamed crazily. I looked sideways and saw Tsugumi struggling to stay above the water. Just then... Boom! The egg was shaken by a strong shock. We made it to the 3rd floor. I wanted to shout this, but it was impossible. There was no longer enough air for me to yell. I didn't know if she had panicked or what, but Tsugumi was thrashing her arms and legs around desperately. In the blur underwater, I pinned down Tsugumi's shoulder. It's alright, I'll take care of it. I felt Tsugumi's body relax. I kicked against the wall and clung to the handle of watertight door. I focused every ounce of strength in my body in turning the heavy handle. Because my body would float, I couldn't gain traction with my feet. Racing one leg on the handrail, I continued turning and turning it. The water pressure began pressing in on my eardrums. My body was screaming for oxygen. Open! 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 The double-ply door opened. The mass of water and Tsugumi and I were all spit out of the elevator and onto the floor, but we didn't have time to catch our breath. Seawater was flooding into the hole in the elevator more ferociously than ever. I got up immediately and rushed to the watertight door in the elevator. First, I closed that door, locked it, and then closed the door on the LeMU side as well. Phew. For a while, I couldn't move. Tsugumi too lay sprawled out on the floor. I didn't feel angry with her, because relief was the dominant emotion. That was such a stupid thing to do. What if we really had died? Tsugumi was coughing a little, looking down. She didn't try to look at me. I thought that maybe she was reflecting on what she had done. That's it, maybe. Maybe she just isn't a people person and has a hard time getting along with others. She seemed fragile and lonely. Maybe she needs someone's help. It was the first time that I had realized there was anything weak about her. Sitting all alone in the middle of that sprawling floor, she looked so small, like a newly born chick. The hallway was dark. The darkness hid our surroundings from us and felt oppressive. I walked slowly forward, making sure of each step. In my right hand, I had a huge toolbox. It was so heavy it felt like my shoulder might break under its strain. I wonder if this area is full of water from yesterday's flooding. Tsugumi shot a question back at me.
だから
2 syllables, that was all she said. What's your problem anyway? Just a minute ago, you were desperately screaming for help to keep me
そん
from
なこと言
drowning.
ってない
To keep from drowning. Yeah, but your eyes did.
訴えてない
There you go, acting all tough again.
強がってなんかいないそれに
Ouch, don't just stop all of a sudden like that. It's dark and I can't see.
いい繰り返すけど私はあなたに助けてなんて一言も言ってないから
Tsugumi turned back to me. Shrouded in the darkness, I couldn't really make out her expression. Yeah, but if I hadn't opened up that door, the chances are you and I would both be floating and drowned in that egg.
あなたに助けられるくらいなら死んだ方がまだ良かった
Oh, really? Jeez, why can't this girl ever be honest with people? I went around Tsugumi and walked further along the flooded corridor. One more thing that I want to get off my chest. What were those words all about anyway?
あの言葉
As she fired another short question at me, Tsugumi passed me again. What you said before we got an egg on the second floor. I really, really need you. Your eyes were watery. You were begging me, right?
ええしたわ
Oh, that was an unexpected answer.
それがどうかしたの
So you are depending on me after all. And now you finally admit it. Tsugumi continued forward without talking. In other words, if something were to happen, you want to be with someone you can rely on. You're afraid to be alone. That's why you wanted me to come.
あなたバカでしょまだ気づかないのあのエレベーター愛は中性浮力を利用してるから基本的には動力を必要としないただしバラストタンクの注水時排水時その時にだけ電力を用いる今は停電してるから
You couldn't operate the ballast valve. That much I know.
アルキメデスの原理って知ってる
Yeah, I worked it. I know it. Dang, you're annoying. Of course I know about that. The buoyancy of a submerged object is equal to the weight of the liquid displaced by the object. And what does that have to do with what we're talking
あ
about?
とは自分で考えれば
There she went again. She would tease me along, but that was it. I gave a deep sigh and shook my head. I switched the heavy toolbox to my other hand and continued walking. After walking a while, Tsugumi turned right ahead of me. I followed after her. Oh! Turning the corner finally hit me. I see, so that's what you meant. I thought it was weird you inviting me along. sink that egg elevator to the 3rd floor, its total weight had to be greater than the force of the buoyancy. So just one skinny girl like you wasn't going to be enough weight.
そうだから勘違いしないでくれるここに閉じ込められた5人の中であなたが一番重いでしょ体重
I'm not just some big rock paperweight.
そうねあなたは漬物石っていうよりもただのうつけ者
As I was thinking I would come back to Rockhead, we arrived at our destination. Yellow and black stripes appeared dimly ahead. This is it? This the generator room? There was a plate with information in front of the door, but it was too dark to read. I'll take a look. I reached toward the door handle.
待って
Tsugumi grabbed my arm. Huh? What's up? What? If you don't talk, I don't understand. Tsugumi held my arm firmly. The wet palm of her hand felt cool. I didn't know what she wanted to say. I tried to read something from her expression, but it was too dark to see. Why not?
危険だから多分
Dangerous inside this room? Tsugumi nodded and gently removed her hand from my arm. And then she quietly approached the door. She tossed some of the water droplets from her hand at the steel door. The droplets sizzled on the door, evaporating away. Is there a fire or something inside? Tsugumi shook her head.
熱水を利用した発電機から出火するとは考えられない
Then...
きっと蒸気がとても高い温度の水蒸気が中に充満してるんだと思うここの発電機はもともと6気圧の下で正常に作動するように設計されてたのよでもレミュー内の大気は今1気圧高圧力の蒸気が充満したタンクとかパイプとかそういったものに亀裂が生じる可能性もないとは言えないわあるいは異常が感知されたせいで安全バルブが開放されたとか
Oh, I get it. Either way, steam is leaking from somewhere and there isn't enough power to turn the turbine, and so the generator stopped. If that is what happened, then that could have been pretty dangerous. The instant I opened the door, my whole body would have been showered with several hundred-degree steam. Like Tsugumi, I tossed some water on the door. After that, Tsugumi and I made for the room next door to the generator room. We were implementing Tsugumi's plan. First, shut off the hot water flowing to the generator room. It was dark and I couldn't see everything, but the room was covered in a astounding number of pipes. The pipes continued into the generator room next door. It seemed that opening and closing the valves could adjust the water and oil pressure. Normally, LeMU is responsible for maintaining the generator room, but even LeMU can't do much when the generator itself goes out. Anyhow, this is L because the power supply is down. This room is designed so that maintenance can be performed manually at times like this or during blackouts. That was what Tsugumi told me. Why does Tsugumi know so much about LeMU? She seemed to know where the generator room was, and the room where all the pipes was. These doubts nagged at my mind. As I was thinking these thoughts, Tsugumi plugged away next to me. Tsugumi selected one pipe from countless rows of them and closed its valve. I had no idea which pipe was doing what, but Tsugumi had known. What kind of girl was Tsugumi anyway? I still hadn't found out how she had known that the inside of the generator room was dangerous. I wonder if Tsugumi has some kind of connection with LeMU.
これで多分大丈夫だと思う
As soon as the work was done, Tsugumi left. I was left alone in the room. There were still a number of nagging doubts that I hadn't resolved. With this, we would be able to shut off the hot water flowing to the generator room. Even so, on the other side of the door, it was still hot enough to scald. Tsugumi and I waited in front of the generator room until the temperature inside had cooled down sufficiently. We sat on the water-covered floor and leaned against the wall. We sat next to each other. We were both already drenched, so we didn't have any problem about sitting in water. Besides, the water was warmer than it looked. I thought it was probably the heat from the generator room. Hey, how long do you think we're gonna wait? How long do you think we're gonna have to wait, right? Asked Tsugumi. Yes, an hour. Tsugumi didn't even try to answer. It was so dark that I couldn't even tell if she had nodded or shaken her head. In the darkness, there were intermittent and repeated clicking noises. It was like the sound of dry plastic crinkling, like on the top of a champagne bottle. It sounded like it was coming from near Tsugumi's hands. What's that?
Eh?
That crackly sound you're making. The sound stopped. Tsugumi took whatever it was and put it away in her pocket. I thought it might be her way of saying, I'm not going to tell. What is with you? What is it with you? You only... What is it with you? You only answer when you feel like it. You're like a cat.
猫は嫌い。ネズミを食べちゃうから。
I didn't know. Have a clue what you're talking about. I don't know. Have a clue what you're talking about. That's for sure.
私が答えるかどうかは気分とは関係ないの。意味のある質問には答える。そうじゃなければ答えない。ただそれだけ。
Really? Ah, Tsugumi, don't be like that. So you are serious.
だからそういう質問には答えたくないの。確認のための質問。あなたには知る必要のない質問。私が知らないことを知ってるくせに聞いてくるような質問。世の中にはあまりにも不毛な会話が多すぎる。そう思わない？
Alright, I got it already. How about I ask you a meaningful question? I want to ask about the air pressure of a generator room. Why do you know so much about LeMU? You kind of want to know that. Why do you know so much about LeMU? I decided to ask about something that had been nagging me for a while. Tsugumi, why do you know so much about LeMU? I mean, you seem to know all about the details of stuff like this generator room, or the pipe room, or whatever. Pipe room, or whatever. I couldn't check her expression, but it seemed like she was deep in thought about something. How's that for a meaningful question?
全然意味なんかないわ。
Tsugumi muttered that.
そんなことを聞いてあなたは何か得する？私のことを知っても何の意味もないでしょ。あなたには知る必要のないこと。
Oh, I see. If you don't want to tell me, that's fine. Still, I really did want to know. Tsugumi's evasion of the question had made me interested in finding out what there really was to her. But I didn't think that she would answer if I badgered about it anymore. I was feeling irritated, but decided to play it cool and pretend like I didn't care. Then.
ね
I didn't know what she was thinking, but Tsugumi suddenly put her face in front of mine. Well, what?
え、今度は私の番ね。
Yeah?
質問してもいいでしょ？
Sure, go ahead.
目閉じてくれる？
Is that the question?
正確に言うとお願い。
There in the darkness, in that narrow corridor, just a few inches from my nose, the two of us. My mind turned to steam and evaporated.
閉じて。
Almost as if I were hypnotized, my eyes began to sink. And immediately after that, I didn't know what to make of these noises. I opened my eyes without thinking. Tsugumi was grinning mischievously right in front of me.
閉じてて。
Tsugumi covered my eyes with one hand. And then... Hey, what are you doing?
このゴキブリ野郎！ゴキブリ野郎！
I screamed. What are you doing? A liquid spray like something showered my face. You, that went in my mouth. Stop it, what's the matter with you? I desperately tried to resist, but my body wouldn't do what I told it. Tsugumi had me by the neck.
そうだ。参ったか、かまど馬よ。別名便所コオロギよ。
With those words, the eruption in my face stopped. I thought she was laughing, but the next thing I knew, Tsugumi had started rubbing my face with a cloth. It was rough and her technique wasn't any better. I stopped my futile resistance. I was almost choking.
これでいいかな?
Tsugumi took her hand off of my neck. Unable to open my eyes, I scooped up seawater from the floor and put it in my mouth. It was salty, but I didn't have any other choice. Yeah. You! I wanted to say something to her, but washing my face took priority. I scooped more water, splashed it on my face, and gargled again. I opened my eyes. What do you think you're doing? What did you put on my face? Oh great, I'm so happy it wasn't some pesticide. You think I'm serious? You idiot, I'm kidding. What do you think spraying that on me all of a sudden? Huh? What was? Whose? You, what is all this? And then I realized something. I remembered. The black ink that had been on the palms of my hands. I see. It was the graffiti. It was still there. You erased all of the writing. I had completely forgotten about it until just then. When I was making sandwiches, looking for Sora, and coming here, the writing had been on my face since that morning. And the acetone. Acetone, that's supposed to be like nail remover, right? There was a strong stench from it in the air. It stung my nose like overripe fruit. It smelled like a hangover. Thanks. I thanked her. So what did the writing say? I asked her about their graffiti. Okay, in the end, I never did find out why she called me a slug. We waited for the generator room to cool before going inside. The heat inside just about defied imagination. The air in the steam-filled room was heavy and stuck to the skin. Inhaling felt like swallowing clods of sticky hot steam. I was opening and closing his mouth like a fish out of water. Isn't it hard to breathe? Tsugumi seemed to have ruled this question out of mine, meaningless as well. Right? She completely ignored me as she started working to get the generator up and running again. We did the work together. Tsugumi gave commands, I followed them. I did the grunt work, tightening bolts, loosening valves, and working on pipes. And when I finished tightening the last bolt, that should do it. I wiped my sweat away with my collar. It was just like Tsugumi had said. The blackout was caused when the safety valve had opened due to the drop in air pressure. When pressure from the steam becomes excessive, the valve automatically opens to release the gas and prevent damage. Normally after a release of surplus gas, the valve is designed to shut automatically, but we're at 1 atmosphere, so because the safety valve never closed, the steam continued leaking. Anyway, that was the gist of the explanation. Tsugumi and I went to the generator room and went to the pipe room. There, we opened the valve and we got closed before the repairs, and returned to the generator room. So, should we try to fire it up? I'm turning it on. You ready? Let's start the countdown. 30 seconds. 25 seconds. 20, 19, 18, 17. Tsugumi pushed the button. Hey, what are you doing? We still have 17 seconds to go. You can't wait a little more than a mere 10 seconds. This is kind of like a ritual. Anyway, it's very important.
0
The lights lit up all at once. The light poured down, illuminating even the corners of the room. It was like our field of vision had expanded in an instant.
ほらね、電気がつくまでちょうど
Hey,
17
17 seconds, like when that's what they said in the first one, right? So give me flash me condescending glance and strode out of the room. It'll be right at 17 seconds. I showed the way to a lock and followed to Tsugumi. Yeah. We found ourselves back in front of the neutral buoyancy elevator. Tsugumi was waiting with her arms crossed.
遅い
What do you expect? I'm the one carrying the Sweden toolbox. Yeah. I forgot it was Tsugumi that took the toolbox out of the warehouse. As I recalled that, I turned my eyes to the egg-like elevator. On the other side of that door, the egg that we came in should have been waiting. It was an egg with a hole in it. It was useless to us. To the left. The floor display was lit up with a number 3. Did you know there was another egg elevator stop down here?
知らなきゃ来ない
I suppose not. Oh, this is heavy. Inside the egg elevator, I put the toolbox on the
お
floor.
っさんみたい
Shut up, I am an old man compared to you. As I said that, I pushed the up button next to the elevator. The internal external watertight doors had already sealed automatically. We could hear air being sent into the ballast tank under the floor. Finally, the egg-shaped elevator didn't start to float up. Huh? Are you serious? The sound beneath the floor had stopped and silence had returned. Not again. Why do we keep running into problem after problem? Knowing it was useless, I pushed the up button repeatedly. Tsugumi was as matter of fact as always. She was playing with and coiling her lock, still damp hair with her finger. Alright, so what do we do? Just as I said that. A monitor just to the right of the round window flickered to life.
倉成さん、小牧さん、
Oh, there she is. Sora, where have you been? We looked everywhere for you.
大変ご迷惑をおかけしました。申し訳ありません。
The image of Sora in the monitor bowed deeply. That's not important right now. Tsugumi and I fixed the generator.
そのようですね。ありがとうございました。本当に。
I think you know this, but we are in this egg, this EI.
愛が動かないのです。
What should we do?
まずその原因についてなのですが、おそらく内部気圧が減少した関係でバラストタンク内の海水を十分に排出することができないからだと思われます。つまり、
You mean it isn't buoyant enough?
はい、浮上させる方法はいくつか考えられますが、
It was then that Tsugumi acted. She suddenly opened the watertight door. Hey, wait, what do you think you're doing? Without answering, Tsugumi also opened the LeMU side
じゃあ
door.
ね
Huh? Tsugumi tried to get out of the elevator. I grabbed her arm, trying to stop her.
触らないで
It was a solid smack.
触らないでって言ったでしょ
My cheek didn't hurt. I absently watched Tsugumi return to the floor.
アンファン
The egg quietly started to ascend. I could no longer see her on the other side of the door.
Tiefe 50 Meter. Tiefe 45 Meter. Tiefe 40 Meter.
The recorded announcement echoed with a tiny sound. Or tuning out. Oh no, Tsugumi! Tsugumi! When I met everyone in the waist lock, they greeted me with friendly
つぐみ
shouts.
がどうかしたの
That idiot decided to stay alone on the floor below.
そうみたいね
No, it doesn't look like it. She did. She's all alone down there. Aren't you worried about her?
でも
I'm going back down. I'm going back down and I'm bringing Tsugumi back.
は
We can't leave Tsugumi alone down there. Look, she's really not as tough as she acts. Somebody has to be with her.
ふん
へえ
Hey, what are you doing? Get your act together. Tsugumi can be a bit of a jerk, but that doesn't mean you have to be so cold to her. Enough. Anyway, I'm going back for her. With that, I went back to the entrance to the egg and waited in front of the doors. Next. When the doors opened. Yay. You worried for nothing, Takeshi.
どいてもらえる？邪魔なんだけど。
I simply stood there. Tsugumi pushed me out of the way and walked by. If there were a rock there, I would have crawled under it, so I did the next closest thing I could think of.
Tiefe 30 Meter. Tiefe 40 Meter. Tiefe 40 Meter.
I went back down to just stalking the egg for no reason. It didn't have enough buoyancy, so we had to come up one by one. Gosh, intense. If I could have, right then, what? Right then, I would have liked to sink down to the bottom of the ocean. Okay, near an hour had passed since the power had gone back online. We got in the conference room on the 3rd floor. Tsugumi, Sora, you, and Coco and I were sitting in chairs, just letting time pass. The rescue team still hadn't come. Our situation didn't show any sign of changing. My yawn spread from one person to the next. Only Sora had her head down and looked as if she were thinking about something. Coco suddenly started talking. As she spoke, Coco plucked something out of her pocket. It was a set of cards. Ooh. Cards, yes.
トランプか。で、何やるの？そうだな。はっ、じゃあスーパーネクリンチョは？スーパー
ネクリンチョ？
あれ？知らないの？スーパーネクリンチョ。
You and Tsugumi looked at each other. It sounds self-explanatory. Of course I know it. I answered full of confidence. You want me to help you set up the cards?
ちょっと待ちなさいよ。
そうよ。一体何なの？
What, are you guys bad at super memory and scared to play?
苦手とか得意とかそういう問題じゃないっての。もしかして。
You guys really don't know the game?
ええ。
You're kidding? I don't believe this. I was stunned.
そんなこと言われても知らないものはしょうがないじゃない。
With that, you climbed up.
そうなんだ。結構有名なゲームだと思ったんだけどな。まあいいや。簡単なルールだから教えてあげるよ。
Coco started shuffling the cards brilliantly.
まずね、よく切ったトランプをこんな感じでテーブルの上に広げるの。
She spread them out randomly so that they didn't overlap.
そしたらじゃんけんをして負けた人から順番にカードをめくるのね。こういう風に1枚めくったらもう1枚めくるみたいな感じで。で、もしもこの2枚のカードが同じ数だったらそのカードはめくった人のものになるの。ね、簡単でしょ？
Hey, everybody got it? Let's play. Yeah.
神経衰弱？
ピロピロピンポンドーン。
Huh?
それは神経衰弱って言わない？普通。
What? Well, maybe in some backwater places they might call it that.
違う。
Huh?
どう考えてもそれってピロピロピンポンドーンじゃないの。どっからどう見ても。
What are you talking about?
違うよ。スーパーネクリン
Oh, now they're all calling one game 3 different names.
ピロピロピーポンだ
Alright then.
メイクリンチョロピバ
Jeez, you guys are fussy. Alright, I know what we'll do. Everybody calm down. We'll compromise and... let's say we call it Consemmer. What? Just then.
お待たせ。
Kid came into the conference room carrying 6 cans of cold cradled against his chest. The card game stopped.
翔ちゃんおかえりお気が利くじゃん少年
He took the cola from the kid and popped open the tab. She held down the carbonation to keep it from erupting. Like a pro, she kept from being showered with sticky cola.
あとついでだから
He noisily set the 5 other cans on the table.
これも持ってきたんだ。
The kid turned around. What?
これだよこれ。
Kid was pointing to the hood behind his neck. I stuck my hand in the hood. There were 2 chicken sandwiches inside it. Hey, what are these? Did you make them?
たけしが懐中電灯と引き換えに僕に預けたんじゃないか。
Oh, that's right, the leftovers. They were the sandwiches that I hadn't given to Tsugumi and
誰
Sora
か
during the
仲良くな
blackout.
る人もいるかなと思って。
お素晴らしい
Yay.
君って本当に
It's pretty nice of him. You went over to the kid and mussed up his hair affectionately. You stood there stiff as a rod, not resisting at all. I figured his hands were probably pretty sticky from the cola. Tsugumi raised her hands.
他にいなければ私に一つちょうだい
Tsugumi, unlike her normal self, spoke up. So all that repair work made you hungry? Of course you didn't see any need to answer my question. Besides, I realized you might not have eaten anything else since breakfast. Alright, this one's for Tsugumi. I gave Tsugumi one of the sandwiches that I took from the kid's hand. Could. Anything since breakfast. Tsugumi took it without saying anything. Then I held out the remaining one to Sora. The other one is for Sora. You haven't eaten, have you?
いえ私はいいんです
Don't be polite. I know it tastes good.
ええでも
Hey, I'm not kidding.
美味しいってのはココも保証するよ
あ、僕も。
Coco and the kid raised their hands. Sora, what? You can't eat my food?
そんなことおっしゃられても
Then what is it? Eat too much yesterday, or are you on a
いい
diet?
えでも
No, you have to eat, or you'll get weak. Here, take it. I tossed a cola and chicken sandwich towards Sora. They traced a gentle arc through the air. Sora suddenly reached out her hands. She reached them out, but... Yay. And I've seen this.
私正式このレ私手順また
レミューの地盤そっか
ええ
RSD って
Now I get to meet Sora again, except Coco is here. So is he.
過剰表示システム
ああ、なるほど。
それにしても
仮想空
大きな
そうで
詳細
ええ
あなた
それを
無作
そうでもう
Alright, you
あ
know
と
all this. Yay.
ところ私ね邪魔
いいえ
じゃあ
可能性
私は
ええ
実は
それは
つまり空は未知のさらにコンピューターものすごく
はいでもあれは
Great. 2 hours passed. Decided to go see Sora. There. Okay, I'm happy we got out of that with Tsumugi. That's enough for now. Bye.